Welcome students, this is your own channel Knowledge Saga. Today we are going to discuss the second chapter of your syllabus, that is the sound of music. As we know that the sound of music has two parts. In the first part there is the story of Evelyn Glennie, who was a Scottish percussionist. So before starting this story, let us know what is a percussion, or what is a percussionist rather. So percussion is a method of physical examination with the help of small instruments like a small drum, etc. Evelyn Glennie was a Scottish percussionist. So as the very term suggests, that percussion means a kind of physical examination with the help of small instruments like small drum. That means Evelyn Glennie was also a percussionist. She was deaf from the age of 12, from very early stage of her life. However, she developed her other senses and became the master of music. The story portrays all her fightings against the odds. So let's study about Evelyn Glennie. Before you read, God may have taken her hearing, but He has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That is why she expresses music so beautifully. That means, however, some of the qualities have been taken away from Evelyn Glennie by God. Still, she has some of the beautiful abilities or qualities that God has bestowed upon her, that we, the common people, don't have. So now let's start the story. Rush hour crowds jostle for position on the underground train platform. A slight girl looking younger than her 17 years was nervous yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. So you can see that the setting of the story is a railway platform. As it is quite usual in a railway platform that there are so much crowds. Similarly, here also very crowdy situation is there, and a slight girl who was looking younger than her 17 years, that means she was actually 17 years old, but in spite of being that, she was looking much younger, and she was nervous too, excited too. Why? We will read that. And she became nervous when the train was approaching to her. Now, what was the reason of her excitement? Let's read. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London, and daunting enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish firm. So you can understand she was excited because she was to perform at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London. That's why she was excited. So through the train she was to go to perform there, and it needs a lot of courage, particularly from a Scottish girl like her. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. So other than she was apart from, in addition to she was a teenager, you can see that although she was an aspiring musician, still she lacked something. That was, she was profoundly deaf. That's the thing that was lacking in her. So the first paragraph, if we are to gist the first paragraph, if we have to sum up this one, it says that the setting is of a railway platform. A very tender girl, she was waiting for her train to come, and as the train was approaching near her, she got excited. Why? Because she was to perform at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London. And she was excited because she was a Scottish girl, a teenager, and also she was profoundly deaf. So it's very striking for us and how a deaf girl like her can perform at the prestigious Royal Society Academy of Music in London. Okay, now let's move to the second paragraph. Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. So you can see that Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. That means it doesn't happen all of a sudden. It had been gradual, slowly. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. They called her name and she didn't move. I suddenly realized she hadn't heard, says Isabel Glennie. So her mother's name is Isabel Glennie. She remembers an incident when the 8-year-old Evelyn was to play the piano. And when her mother called her by name, she didn't move. Then the mother realized that there is something wrong with the girl. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness from friends and teachers. But by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated, and her headmistress asked her parents to take her to a specialist. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. So what happened here? Let's see. It says that her teacher actually, from the very initial stage, Evelyn was trying to conceal, to hide her growing deafness from her friends and teachers. But a time comes when the principal, the headmistress, she asked her parents to take her to a specialist, that means a doctor. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. So that was the question, that was the thing that you may remember, because question may come, what was the result of her deafness? The answer would be the gradual nerve damage. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. Okay, so up to this I think it's very easy to understand for you. However, here it says that as the specialist found her that gradual nerve damage was going on, so he advised that she should be fitted with some hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf only. Everything suddenly looked black, says Evelyn. So this was the line, very striking. When she heard that she was to send for the school of deaf, everything suddenly looked blurred for Evelyn. Okay, students, we should leave here, and before leaving I request you to press the like button and subscribe the channel also. Thank you.